What's up everyone, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to another video. In today's video I wanted to talk about how the Israelites really represent all of humanity and the struggle between them and God. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard this story before, but the Israelites were God's people that Moses led out of Egypt. And so Moses was actually tasked by God. He was told by God that, hey, I want you to lead the Israelites out of Egypt and I will be with you every step of the way. And this really just shows the overall adversity that a lot of humans have in order to follow God. And the really cool thing that I do love about this story is that it's imperfect, right? So it's not something that it's just a super perfect fairy tale land story that where everybody made it safely over the rainbow. No, it's not. It's actually quite the opposite. And if you guys actually go to Exodus chapter 2, verse 11 to 12, it says, one day after Moses had grown up, he went out to where his own people were and watched them at their hard labor. He saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his own people. Glancing this way and that and seeing no one, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. And this is Moses, you guys, before God even calls him to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. So the important thing to realize about this is that even after he committed this act, one of the worst things you can do as a human, which is murder, Jesus still wanted him and chose him to lead the Israelites. And on top of this too, I forgot what verse it is, I don't know, but it says that Moses had a stutter, he had a speech impediment. So he was very imperfect and probably one of the last people you would think of that God would choose. But the truth about this is that God truly sees our hearts, right? He knows exactly what our intentions are, truly knows what our futures are, what our intentions are. So it's really important that you pray to God about these things so he can reveal these things to you. In addition to this, God knows us more than we know ourselves. That's why it's very important that we put our trust in him. And when God approached Moses through the burning bush, you know what Moses said? He said, you got the wrong person. I don't know if I can do this. And that is the same mentality that a lot of us now have. A lot of people think that they're not fit for a certain role or fit for a certain purpose in life. But you have to understand that God knows you more than you know yourself and that anything is possible through him. And God gave Moses some amazing powers to put plagues onto the Egyptians, turn the water into blood, bring all these locusts in, and split the Red Sea. This truly shows us that no matter what we've done, we are never too far gone. So it doesn't matter if you have addiction, if you are a murderer. There are people literally in the Bible that have committed terrible acts, the worst acts that you could ever do, yet they still are redeemed through God. But it all just comes down to your intentions, what your heart truly is, and if you can repent and be truly sorry for the things that you've done. But when you also lose faith in the Lord will let you wander, which is why the Israelites wandered in the desert for 40 years. They were worshiping idols, they were disobeying God, they're not listening to him, and God will let you wander for doing this. And because of this, Moses never saw the promised land. In fact, Joshua was the one that led the Israelites into the promised land. See, we as humans tend to sort of drift off from the path, mainly because we try to trust our own intuition about everything. We're very, very prideful beings. But in Proverbs, you know what it says? It says in Proverbs 3, 5 to 6, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will make your path straight. So you have to trust that the Lord will make your path straight and that he will guide your hand. There are so many different things that we cannot see or understand in the future that there's no way that we can always make the right decisions. And you also must consult God about big decisions in your life. An example would be also the Israelites. Again, the Israelites really represent mankind. They represent the struggle that we've always had. They went to battle. They went to numerous battles where they didn't request or sort of ask the Lord if they should fight the enemies or not, or if it would be in their advantage. And because of this, when they went out to fight, a lot of them died. They did not consult God first. So God said, go ahead, do what you want, and, you know, lean on your own understanding. And so because of this, they lost a lot of people and they lost a lot of battles. This is exactly applicable to a life that we may live, right? You know, if you don't consult God about a certain person in your life, or maybe a job opportunity, career opportunity, you might just be jumping in head on without knowing anything about the situation. But if you consult God first and you put him first and trust him, he will make sure that your path is straight and that you can trust in him without worrying, without fear, that everything would be okay. And we also have other instances of people that knew God beforehand, but they still continued to worship idols like Baal. And they also would have all these women. They would be super lustful. And we're talking about King David and King Solomon. God gave them a lot of wealth, a lot of power. And they had a really good relationship with God, but they soon started to stray away because of the material things and because of these really worldly things that took over their lives. And when you do this, this angers God. But God gives us free will. So if you decide to do these things, He's going to be like, okay, go ahead. Worship other idols, try to serve other gods, and see what happens. And when they did these things, again, the Israelites started losing. They were losing battles. The Ark of the Covenant got stolen. They had all the Babylonians take over. But it's always very important for you guys to remember that no matter what you've done or whatever situation that you're going into, it's always very important to consult God about it, and that you're never too far gone, regardless of the things that you've done. So other than that, you guys, that's all I really want to talk about in this video. Hopefully you got some value out of it and sort of understand of why you need to consult God about everything you do in your life, and just put your trust in Him, and He will make your path straight. There's certain things in the Bible, certain things that God may put in your life that you may not completely understand, but you have to know that He sees your entire timeline. So He knows exactly when to show up and how to show up. So other than that, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.